Alright, welcome to this week's episode of Those Two Guys Talk Disney. I'm Justin Vaughn.
I'm Jay Gibson.
And this week we're actually talking about Pete's Dragon, the 1977 version, as Jay's down in a bottle of water.
Sorry, I'm thirsty.
1977 version. Next week we're actually cover the 2016, or 2 weeks. I think we should do 2 weeks. That way there's a little bit of a gap there. But in that case, we'll cover Dumbo next week. This is the release from ABC when they were doing their Sunday night movies. They actually released it in 1986 on that channel as a Sunday night movie. That is the anniversary of this. Obviously, that was 40 years ago, or close to 40. It will be 40 this year. But that's why we're actually covering it here, because pretty much most of the movies we're covering now will be some kind of anniversary for this year.
My hat hit my mic.
At least that's kind of our goal, is just finding stuff with anniversaries this year. Some significant, like this one's 40 year of the ABC release. It's technically even longer than that, since it came out in 1977. We technically could have waited till next year to do this one too, but that's all right. This actually happens to be one of Jay's favorite movies.
Yes, it is. I actually have our grandmother's original copy, VHS copy of it, in my cabinet. Only VHS I own. Although I did not realize that's how I was rewatching it, how long this movie actually was.
I also forgot this one was a musical.
Yeah, a little bit.
I forgot about that, because the remake is not a musical.
Not so much.
So, yeah, I started watching it, I was like, oh man, it's like, this is a musical.
It had a runtime of 129 minutes. I did not realize it was like a 3-hour long movie.
Alright, let's jump into the synopsis on this. Elliot, a magical and sometimes mischievous dragon, causes chaos in a Maine fishing village when he tries to help a young orphan called Pete escape from his evil foster parents. Pete wants to live in the lighthouse with Nora and her father. Will Elliot be able to help her achieve her dream?
Somebody had a typo.
Actually, is it though? Because he does technically help Nora. But will Elliot be able to help him achieve his dreams while avoiding the clutches of the greedy Dr. Terminus, who wants to exploit him? The original release on this was November 3rd, 1977. The ABC release was September 21st, 1986. Again, that's the anniversary we're celebrating. The budget was $10 million. And the box office was 36 to 39.6 million.
Yeah.
Approximately. They don't actually give you the exact amount, but
IMDb rating was a 6.3 out of 10. Then Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 56%. And then I got another rating for something called Common Sense or whatever. It was a 3 out of 5.
I did not get that one.
Not too bad.
It was filmed. The lighthouse for the film was built on Point Buchan Trail in Montana.
Yep.
De Oro State Park, located south of Los Osos, California. Substituting for Maine, it was equipped with such a large beacon that Disney had to get special permission from the Coast Guard to operate it, since doing so during filming would have confused passing ships. Pacific Gas and Electric opened the Point Buchan Trail and allows hikers access to where filming took place.
That's really cool.
Yes, it is. They built a lighthouse.
Did you know that the directors' names were Don Sheffery and Don Bluth? Both of their names were Don. Pretty interesting.
Now, one name on this list, I seen the name when I was doing the cast. I seen the one name, and I was like, no frickin' way. And I'll explain it to you when I get to it.
Yeah, Helen Reddy is Nora.
The kind daughter of the local lighthouse keeper. This is the name that got me. Jim Dale as Dr. Terminus, a scheming quack and showman. Now, Jim Dale, you know why his name caught me? He is the narrator of the Harry Potter audiobooks.
Nice.
One of the two narrators. There's him and then Stephen Fry. I've always listened to the Jim Dale version because that's the one that was released here. So it caught my attention because, well, I've heard Jim Dale's voice a lot.
You had Mickey Rooney as Slampy, Nora's dad.
The local lighthouse keeper. Red Buttons as Hoagie, the assistant of Dr. Terminus. Shelley Winters as Lena Gogan.
Gogan, yeah.
The matriarch of the Gogans. Sean Marshall as Pete, an orphan escaping the cruel Gorgons. Jane Keene as Miss Taylor, the strict, no-nonsense, and unfair teacher. Jim Bacchus as the mayor of Passamaquoddy. Charles Tyner as Merle
Gogan.
Merle Gogan, the patriarch of the Gogans. Gary Morgan as Grover Gorgon.
What a name. Grover Gogan.
Merle and Lena's older sadistic son. Jeff Conway as Willie Gogan. Merle and Lena's younger sadistic son. I promise you I will get it right. Just give me a minute.
That's funny.
And then I got some more notes on the back of my page here. Just gotta get to them. Cal Barlett as Paul, a sailor who disappeared at sea, and Nora's fiance, which he does not actually have a big part in this. Walter Barnes as the captain of the ship Paul returns home on. Charlie Callis as the voice effects for Elliot, a dragon who befriends Pete. And then, like you said, the runtime is 129 minutes.
Look, I sound just like Pete, or like Elliot.
Now, because all the movies we watch are newer movies, like last week, it was Star Wars Attack of the Clones, not Attack of the Clones, but Revenge of the Sith. You see the special effects in that one. Then you go back to 1977, you see the special effects in this one.
It's a whole different ballgame.
You could tell the difference.
For sure.
That we're watching a definite older movie. Before we actually get into the recap, though, what is your thoughts on this movie?
Obviously, I really like the movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies growing up. Which is why I have Grandma's original copy.
Like I said, to me, it threw me off when it was a musical, because I forgot it was a musical. But to be fair, I don't think I've actually watched this since we were kids.
A dragon.
I said, I don't think I've ever watched this since we were kids. So that's a long time ago for me. And yeah,
I haven't watched it in a really, really long time. I said I didn't know it was that long. It's been a long time since I actually watched it. There's other things I can watch it whenever I want. I got Disney Plus and it's on it.
The problem is we watch so much other stuff.
I'm too busy watching other stuff, so.
Especially for this podcast and our other one, go check it out, the Creeptastic Nerds.
Heck yeah.
On Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, Mr. Kool-Aid.
Don't have a YouTube channel yet. Yeah, being the key word. But because we watch so much stuff for the 2 podcasts we do, it's a little hard just to watch something for enjoyment.
A dragon. It's true.
And for me, it's really hard to just sit and watch a Disney movie knowing I got to watch Disney movies for this. So I don't want to just watch them. I want to save them. Sooner or later, we'll cover it on the podcast. Eventually.
On a bright note, your youngest son likes to watch Disney movies, so
Yeah.
don't want to go watch it.
I didn't actually have an issue with this movie. Like I said, it very much, you could tell it was from from the 70s.
Gotta be the sale right here. Gotta be the sale.
Now,
Petey.
see, that was the thing too, is like I didn't remember this movie. I kept flashing to the other movie, and I don't think you actually see his foster parents chasing him, where they're actually talking about how they bought him for $50.50 for some kind of paperwork. I don't know, but it's like, wow, so you bought him?
Yeah, gotta be able to sale right here. There's some really mean people, though.
Yeah, they are.
They're just really
But Elliot has fun with them and knocks them into that big mud pit. But it was kind of cool, like, when you first see Pete, he's actually riding on Elliot's neck, who is invisible, so you just see him floating. That was kind of cool. But yeah, I just...
Boo, boo, boo. I love you too. I got watched it earlier. Part of it earlier. All fresh in my head.
So like I said, that part's kind of cool, so... But you see, like, stuff like that, and you actually see him, like, talking to Elliot. And they decide they're just going to run away together. But Pete actually hides in a log to get away from the Gogans, which I don't blame him. They're really mean. Their real whole goal was just make him do all the farm work.
And not only are they mean to him, they're just like mean to everybody around him. Like when they go into that town looking for him, like they're just rude to everybody.
Yeah, but their whole plan is to make him do the yard work.
They pretty much treat him like a slave.
Yeah. And actually, the matriarch actually tells them, if we don't find him, you have to work the farm. So naturally, all of them, oh, no, we gotta find him. Thankfully, Pete does hide in the log, and he just basically sleeps there all night. When he wakes up in the morning, Elliot is visible, picking apples.
Yeah, it's toasted apples, man. Elliot toasted for him.
Well, then Pete climbs up on his stomach, and he's eating an apple, and he starts, like, tossing the apples in Elliot's mouth. And the last one, Pete said, oh, there's only one left. There's like another 100 on the ground. Why couldn't you just slide down and pick up another one? But whatever.
Yeah.
But Elliot tells him he can have it, but he has him toss it up, and he actually toast it. And he actually gets to sit and eat a toasted apple.
A nice one toasty apple.
I've never had a toasted apple.
I've never cooked an apple. The only time I've ever had a warm apple is a warm apple pie.
Exactly.
Like an apple pie. I would never just like an apple just heat it up. Just never done that.
That's when you find out, though, that Elliot is a fire-breathing dragon with tiny wings. And he's bright green.
And pink. Like,
Yeah.
green, like green and pink as purple. Whatever you want to call it.
But they decided to keep running, and they run into this small fishing village. What's the name of it?
Passamaquoddy.
Yeah.
What a name for a village, or a city, or town. Passamaquoddy.
And
Passamaquoddy.
you see, like, all the different situations, man, that Elliot's getting into, but just being invisible and being clumsy, like knocking down signs, walking through like concrete, just every little thing.
Because then he ends up getting stopped by a teacher.
Yeah, Pete does.
I don't know what school he's skipping from, and Elliot like hooks a dress onto a nail.
And Pete's legit trying to get it unstuck so that she wouldn't know. And she naturally, when she rips it off of her, she blames him.
He's like, no, your dress got caught on a nail. Yeah, your fingernail, she said.
Like, if I had been him, I would have just booked it.
Then he makes the other guy, like, trip and fucking, sorry, smash eggs into, like, mayor's face or whoever's face.
That poor mayor, man. Like, holy crap, he did so much happened to him. Because even at one point, he goes, when did I lose control of this town?
And didn't he, like, go to walk out and fall because Elliot, like, tore out the stairs?
No,
or
it was
whatever?
not Elliot. It was Dr. Terminus. When they come flying in on their little cart with the sail.
Well,
And he tells his assistant to drop anchor, and he does, and it hooks the stairs, and it pulls him.
He goes to walk out the building and just... I felt always so bad. Like, man, the poor guy just wants to smoke a cigar, and every time it's like something happens.
Because, like, then Elliot and Pete actually hide behind some, like, traps. And Elliot comes visible, and Pete's basically just chewing him out. Like, you have to stop doing this. People can't see you. And that's when the drunk comes stumbling out of the bar, trying to get on a bike. The dumbest thing, don't try to ride a bike.
Just dragging.
And naturally, he sees Pete, he talks to Pete, and then looks up, sees the dragon, doesn't register it right away, and then all of a sudden it clicks to him that it's a dragon. And he starts freaking out, runs back into the bar, and starts telling him how there's a dragon while he's still drinking more.
Yeah, he's like, dragon, it's true. And then you see him just grabbing random people's beers and, like, taking a swig out of somebody's glass.
So,
and his daughter shows up looking for him. She, like, swings the door, but hits him with it, knocks him over. She's like, where's my dad? And they're like...
But then she ends up dancing.
Yeah, like, she's on a barrel, man. It's like running on a moving barrel. Like, that's kind of cool.
And then everybody else does the same thing. And then they're basically breaking them and spraying them everywhere. And then she gets her dad actually out and gets him home. And as she's putting him to bed and stuff, she goes outside to, like, kind of keep an eye on things. And she sees Pete walking alone into a cave.
Yep.
She realizes tide's going to fill up that cave. You know, he really shouldn't be in there. And he's by himself, so she goes to investigate.
She's by himself because she can't see Elliot.
Yeah. But Pete's mad at... Pete actually walks in the cave with Elliot, and he's mad at Elliot. And Elliot's trying to, like, cheer him up by, like, doing tic-tac-toe on his belly. And Pete refuses to play. And then Nora walks in. So Elliot tries to hide in a crack when he can go invisible.
Yeah. Yeah, I never understood why he didn't just go invisible, but it made no sense.
But Pete's telling her he's not alone. Well, she invites Pete up to eat some chowder. And then basically when they get back, just tells him, hey, you could spend the night here.
Of course they're having clam chowder. I mean, come on, man.
I know it's Maine.
Fishing town of Maine.
Technically, she doesn't say clam chowder. She just says chowder.
I'm sure it was clam chowder, though.
I'm sure. Just saying. But she tells him he can just spend the night, and she gets him a big shirt to sleep in so she can wash his clothes. And then she talking to him about, you know, where he was from, you know, that kind of stuff. And he said, oh, I'm with Elliot. She goes, well, who's Elliot? He goes, my dragon.
Yeah.
So he's literally telling her he has a dragon. Mind you, she heard her dad talk about a dragon.
A dragon. A dragon.
She just assumed her dad was drunk or playing along with his kid. Well, next morning, her dad comes down and he says hi to him, then realizes, you're the one with the dragon. And starts freaking out. And she basically calms her dad down, says that Pete's going to be staying with him. She's going to take him to town and buy him some new clothes. And she does. She buys him some really nice clothes.
I think she even also enrolls him into school, too.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know how that works, being that she's literally not his parent, but...
She didn't really give her a choice. She was like kind of pretty mean to her. They didn't really give her much of a choice. But Pete does show Elliot all of his nice new clothes, and I'm not gonna lie, it's about when I dozed off. Because I was watching this at 1 o'clock in the morning after a very long day yesterday. But I did wake up when she was going into town. But this is also around the time that Dr. Terminus actually shows up to town.
Yep.
And rips the steps off the mayor's office and crashes, and then all of a sudden his whole cart sets itself up. And him and his assistants on there.
Like, trying to sew, like, hair growth elixirs and
Yeah.
whatever else.
And, like, one guy's like, when you were here last time, my hair was gray. And he pulls off his hat, and it's bright pink. He goes, now it's this. No offense. I'd be very upset. Literally, people are paying him just because his assistant dresses up as different people. And he dumps a little bit of stuff on him or in his ear or whatever. And now he's cured, and he's jumping into another character and then jumping into another one. So finally they convince everybody.
Yeah.
Even though the doctor cannot say the name of the town.
Passamaquoddy. Passamaquoddy. Passamaquoddy.
But he finally convinces them to invest and start buying his elixirs.
Magical elixirs. Sorry, all I could think of was freaking
Sweeney Todd?
Sweeney Todd. I just popped in my head after talking about that scene, and just that's the only thing I think of. Ladies and gentlemen, please, may I have your attention, please?
Is that a Disney movie? I don't think so. Does Disney own that movie though?
I have no idea.
Because if they do, we can cover it on
It's
here.
another musical.
If not, we can cover it on the other one.
That's actually another musical.
I know, but it's really good.
Yeah, it's good.
And I like Sweeney Todd. But Pete also finds out about Paul, and he says, let me talk to Elliot. Elliot's really good at finding people. And, let me see.
I think that's directed by Tim Burton. Probably not Disney.
He directs a lot of Disney movies. Nora takes Pete to start school. Enraged, Elliot smashes into the schoolhouse, leaving a shape in the wall and frightening the townspeople. Dr. Terminus, now convinced Elliot is real, discovers from a book that any physical properties from dragons can be used for remedies and tonics, and conspires with Ogie to exploit Elliot for medical profit. Pete accepts Nora and Lampy's invitation to live with them. When the Gogans arrive in town and demand he be returned, they brandish a document proving that they had legally bought him for $50 plus fees, but Nora refuses to surrender him. As the Gogans chase them in a boat, Elliot sinks it, saving Pete. Dr. Terminus makes a deal with the Gogans to capture Pete and Elliot, even convincing the townspeople that capturing Elliot will solve their problems. That evening, a storm blows in. While at sea, a ship approaches Passamaquoddy with Paul and on board. Dr. Terminus lures Pete to a boathouse while Hoagie does the same to Elliot, who gets caught in a net but frees himself. He retrieves Pete in a confrontation with the Gogans, who finally accept defeat and flee after he destroys their document. Dr. Terminus attempts to harpoon him, but his leg gets caught in the rope and he is sent catapulting through the ceiling, ending up dangling upside down near a utility pole. Elliot saves the mayor, Miss Taylor, and the members of the town board from a falling utility pole, revealing himself to them. At the lighthouse, the lamp has been extinguished by a rogue wave. Elliot lights it with his fire, revealing himself to Nora and saving the ship. This is actually the funny part. So, like, all the stuff that happens to the mayor after he falls out, he kind of puts his one foot down and like make sure the step's there before he's like steps down, which is hilarious. And he said finally he goes to walk out, and then that electrical pole falls, and then Elliot actually saves him, and that's when they actually see him. And it's funny because, like, you know, if it wasn't, there's literally just one thing after another for that mayor.
Yeah,
that poor freaking mayor.
That poor guy.
And Dr. Terminus, honestly, he's just a bad dude. Like, his assistant really wasn't bad. Yes, technically he was lying and everything.
All he wants is money, money, money. He's just greedy, greedy, greedy.
And his assistant just wants alcohol. Because he's an alcoholic. Which he actually finds out about Elliot because of Lampy, who's at the bar drinking and talking.
And they go down to the cave.
Yeah. Then you find out, like, Elliot actually likes Lampy. So he tries to, like, Lampy actually does convince him, the assistant, you know, hey, you need to do something to make him like you. The assistant gives him alcohol, which then makes him shoot fire. And that assistant had a huge flask.
Yeah.
Because he put a bunch of it in Elliot's mouth. Then Lampy asked for a swig, and then he downs the rest of it.
Yeah. That's a pretty good size flash.
Oh, my leg itches.
Kind of wonder what kind of whiskey they were drinking.
Probably generic, just brown whiskey.
Who knows?
Brown liquor, man, that's all it was. But the whole time, like, Pete is trying to tell Nora that Elliot can save, you know, Paul, you know, Paul's coming, and, like, even after, like, she's like, enough with this, when Elliot is actually trying to help at the lighthouse, trying to light the fire, she still doesn't know what's actually going on, and she just kind of sees the outline of Elliot, and then she goes to pop in there to, like, bust him, I guess, and then she sees Elliot. Then it's like, oh, you really were real. Yeah, he's been telling you that this entire movie.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Gogans actually had paperwork showing that they owned
Yeah, it's all messed up.
him, that paperwork didn't last long when Elliot just decided to burn it. They're probably not best at keeping records, so once that record's gone, it's gone. But they get the lighthouse fired back up. The captain of the ship that Paul is on, actually, they see it, and that's where they start sailing to, like, to avoid all the big rocks and stuff. Because that water was
But
rough.
before or after the doctor, like, set the trap to catch her, the dragon?
That was after. Because that's when they escape back to the lighthouse to get it going. Because of the storm. Mind you, there's not a storm in town. But the storm at the lighthouse was horrible. So they're trying to, like, get to the lighthouse relit. And Elliot's having issues lighting it because he's stuck in the stairwell. Because he got a dumpy bottom.
You got all that junk.
Yeah, he got all that junk in the trunk. So they get there, they finally does get it lit, and the next morning Paul actually does show up, just like Pete was telling her he was going to. And they realize, oh, yes, Elliot's actually a hero. So, So he then just kind of tells Pete, there's another kid that needs him, and Pete will never see him again. But now the whole town celebrates Elliot, and the poor mayor tells Pete to tell Elliot, and Pete goes, Elliot would just like you to tell him himself. And the mayor goes, oh, and starts walking the other way, and Pete goes, no, he's over there. And the mayor turns around and poof, right into him, smashes his cigar can.
Poor guy just wanted to smoke a cigar, man.
Definitely you tell a difference in the year because Disney would not allow that on their movies now. Same with the drinking. Not going to be in their movies now.
Yeah.
Generally.
Well, and the whole buying a kid thing would not fly today
No.
in a movie. That definitely touched the time period.
So, unfortunately for Pete, he does lose Elliot.
But he has a new family.
Yeah, but he gains a family. And Paul's just like, okay, cool, we got a kid now.
Which is basically what Elliot was doing in the first place, was there to help him try to find a home, basically.
And they all just live in the lighthouse. I don't know how much room a lighthouse has. I guess it's because I've never actually been inside of a lighthouse.
Right. Excuse me. Doing that.
But that is our movie. What do you rate this movie?
For me, and it's up there.
Because of the nostalgia, it's going to be higher.
Yeah, no, probably about a good solid 8.5.
See, I gotta go with the 6.5, maybe a 7. Only because we're watching so many of these Disney movies now, and you can see when Disney does animation really, really good, and the live action animation didn't really work at the time. I understand the story, understand why they did it, and a lot of the times you can see where they try to do it a little bit better and just no animation. But the animation is why I was thinking cartoon, and the other one's live action.
Yeah.
When not, it's just a remake. But that's why I was thinking that.
But they did change everything.
They did.
Like you said, it's not a, you don't see him running away from the adoptive family, abusive family, stuff like that. So they did change little things here and there. But.
Yeah. But it's not exactly the same. And obviously, you're never going to make the same movie again.
And it's also obviously set in more modern times.
Yes. Now, there are some Disney movies we'll never be able to do. Unless somebody has a random copy or we can find it on YouTube. Like Song of the South. Probably never going to be able to do that one. Because Disney locked that movie away in a vault and they're never releasing it again. Makes sense. And some of them are just, they're so old, you can't find them, they're not on anywhere. So, obviously, we can't cover something we can't find.
Right.
But this movie, we definitely could. Dumbo next week, we could definitely find that. It's on Disney Plus.
Bed Down the Broomsticks.
Yeah, on Disney Plus. Some of these older ones we can't actually find, so it won't be a problem. And I know, sorry, there was a gnat right there.
Yeah, I know it's been over here too. I tried to get it myself,
But I also know, you can also tell, when you go, a full animated movie, Disney does amazing with it. And then you go, the combo, it's a little bit rougher to get through. for me personally. I don't think there's anything really big issue with this movie, just other than it's an old movie. I mean, it is what it is. Old movies generally don't hold up. Not because of any, like, racial thing in this movie, because there was none. It just simply, the animation just kind of threw me off. Like, when he's just talking to Elliot, when Elliot's invisible, not too bad. I don't know why Elliot doesn't respond when he's invisible all the time, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. No idea.
But yeah, just little stuff like that. It does throw me off a little bit. Because Disney is amazing at animation. There's a reason they go back to, was it 1929? I think it was when Snow White first came out.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that.
There's a reason they go back that far. And technically they go back even further than that. They just weren't Disney then, they were something else. Ankle.
Ankles at you too.
I think it's this rug. But yeah, like I said, you go back, you can watch Disney movies that are animated. You can tell that they're amazing in animation, and they will actually go really far. Like for Bambi, he brought in live deer just so the animators could see how deer move, to make sure that they were, authentically catching how the muscles moved in a deer.
Nice.
Like, that's insane. But that's the kind of stuff Walt Disney would do. I don't know if they did that for Dumbo because, well, he wasn't that big of a studio yet. And elephants are a little bit harder to get.
But they could have sent them somewhere.
True. I doubt it, though. Disney really liked doing everything in-house. But then I guess he could actually have brought elephants in. Did a little circus or something right there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't did research for it yet. So we'll find out. Yeah, so come back next week for Dumbo, and then the following week for the remake, Peach Dragon. And then at the end of the month will be Motocross, which is a DCOM. I realized before we actually had the set up to where we were doing, 2 movies, a DCOM, and then a series. We're kind of taking we're going to go back to that sooner or later, but for now, we're just doing movies. If a show pops up we really want to talk about, we'll cover the show. But we pretty much have it played out for the rest of the year, for the most part. That's the best we could do. I mean, that's the best I can say for now. But yeah, come back next week for Walt Disney's Dumbo. See you guys then.